All right. I worked. That's better. It's recorded. Great. Sorry for the delay, but thank you for joining me here today, man.
All right. Thank you for having me.
No worries. No worries. No worries. So, I mean, I've already kind of said in the messages what we want to talk about, but I thought maybe uh, I might be good at intros, but I'm sure you'd be better at your own introduction. So, how about
Yeah.
you just tell us your name and what you do, a little bit about yourself, and we can jump into the good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm Jerome Harvey-Agyei, and I work at the Mayor's office in the Violence Reduction Unit, which is a unit that looks to reduce violence across London, but more importantly, increase opportunities for young people. Build on better communities, basically. So outside of that, I'm a growth facilitator, and I work around the country, just supporting them to turn their pain into positivity
Nice.
and using the story of a friend who committed suicide to help to create a space for authenticity and space for growth and nurture and love and connection and all that fun stuff.
Nice. It's a great thing, that you're willing to stand up and kind of dedicate your whole career to this, because
Yeah.
you don't see many men, especially more nowadays, but you never saw many men, kind of opening up about, struggles with anxiety and depression
Yeah.
and things like that. I know it's one thing that Me Too tries to aim for, because a lot of boys a lot of boys that, from around ages like from 14, 15 and upwards, they suffer from suicidal thoughts and tendencies. So it's good. So what made you want to, get into this field?
I didn't want to get into it. I think it's just a calling.
Mm,
So if I had my way, I would have done football or something a bit more fun.
mm,
Um, but I think just life experience makes you passionate about making sure that people don't go through what you go through, seeing people suffering. I've just got an obsession and a drive to just be of service and of value to the world around me. And
mm,
yeah, just going through a lot of pain has made me think
yeah,
that I want to help to balance out that in our environments that I'm from. So where I'm from, it's pain after pain after pain. But there's good stuff in the world, but we're not able to learn about the balance of life. We're trained
yeah.
to keep our focus on trauma rather than the beauty of everything else that's going on in the world.
Yeah, it's something that I kind of I feel like I've seen. I read an article. I can't remember who it was by, but it was saying that, the black community, in a lot of it, in the black community, a lot of the creativeness and the art and the things that come out of it is all kind of deep well into, pain and trauma and whatnot,
Mm.
from rap music about being in and out of jail, to films and poetry, all kind of focusing on, kind of like negative aspects of, kind of
Yeah,
what's going on in the black community. And, I think it's great that people could kind of explore that outlet. But I think, yeah, sometimes as a people we maybe focus on the trauma too much, and not the things that
yeah,
make us great, not the things that we've
yeah.
accomplished, because we've come a really, really long way. I mean, I'm not sure about you, but I'm
Mm.
first generation as well. I'm first generation here, in the UK. In the UK, my parents came over from Sierra Leone back in the 90s, and, they've done pretty well for themselves. But a lot of the
Yeah,
time, you don't really think about, all the great things that either you, your family done, or the black community have done as a whole. It's a lot more of a focus on the kind of traumatic aspects, when there's so
yeah.
much more to our lives and such. You know.
We seem to have an addiction to trauma,
Mm,
because it's entertaining, it moves you. But there is also a side where if we showed love, then it can move you the same way. It's just
mm,
enough lens on it. So
yeah,
I'm really interested in that aspect. I mean, sometimes trauma serves a purpose, pain serves a purpose, but like with George's death,
yeah,
but it is also very draining. And
yeah.
so a lot of us can't do the long-term fight because we're drained from the short-term
Mm,
battle.
no, you're right. Um, do you feel like maybe that that the George Floyd and the incident and the movement that kind of came out of it, do you think it would have been as impactful without us, everyone kind of being in lockdown and quarantine and not being able to see like, oh, I was working, so I didn't see the video or this and that?
Yeah, I think more eyes were on it because of lockdown. So people's sense of purpose disappeared over the last couple of months because it's like you're used to being out. But now the media, what's going on is very much more clear now. So I believe, yeah, it was exacerbated by the fact that we're all in lockdown and we're all connected online, and it just went crazy. I think
Yeah,
if people were out and about, I think it still probably would have been raised, but it wouldn't have been as major
yeah,
as an issue was.
yeah. No, I
Mm.
understand what you mean. Understand what you
Mm.
mean. You know, I felt that as well. You know, I was so pleased that I was seeing so many more people actively, you know,
Yeah,
campaigning and getting involved and trying to unlearn, you know, certain behavior and trying to you know, put their front foot forward to try and help the movement. But a part of me, and maybe it's the cynical part, and maybe it's the kind of pessimistic part in the back of my head, you know, thinking, well, you know, I mean, they've done it all before. We've tried to do this all before. We tried to do it all before, you know, and how much will this really do anything? And I'm only just doing it because of the quarantine, but I think I also thought, you know, maybe, you know, that's a good thing. You know, everyone keep going on about how bad 2020 was in comparison to, you know, the lockdown and
mm,
all the things going on. And I'm not saying, you know, any of these things happen for a reason, but, you know, maybe it's a good way to kind of turn it around, and maybe this year be like, you know, the breaking point where we start edging
yeah,
forward closer to change, you know.
love that. Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, it's hard not to be pessimistic in these times.
Yeah.
But it feels like there are some genuine systemic changes that are seem to happen. Like corporations are starting to acknowledge that, oh, yeah, we're part of this problem.
Mm,
I think that's the power of what's happened. Is it's just a start of a process. It's down to us what we do with that start now. So the process, but it's down to us to keep that
yeah.
fire
Yeah.
burning.
Yeah, I think so. I think I know you're absolutely right. I think the momentum has been insane. You know, it's been picked up quite fast, quite far, and I feel like people are, you know, actively engaging in what's going on. Something that I wanted to also mention. A couple of my friends, you know, and I guess me too to an extent. You know, a couple of my friends and me too, you know, and me too. We were kind of we some of us, our mental health was struggling a bit due to, you know, all the things he was seeing on the news and what's going on in
Yeah,
America, and then, you know, having to scroll through social media to look at people kind of dismissing the movement and focusing on the negative aspects and not the positive
yeah.
aspects. You know, so I was wondering, I was wondering, you know, if you maybe had any kind of like suggestions or tips that, you know, might help some people, not just, you know, not just my friends, but other people who are also struggling, you know, with the things that they're seeing online and the lockdown and
Yeah,
quarantine, you know, kind of things that, you know, that they tips or tricks, something, you know, that could help them
yeah.
during this with their mental health, stuff like that.
I mean, I've struggled as well, if I'm being all honest, because it has been overwhelming. The first tip is get offline.
Yeah,
Just throw that phone away for a little bit, and just look around you, because that's not a reality. That's an illusion, which is being played out to put us in fear, I believe.
mm,
Um, so get offline, get into nature if you
yeah,
can.
yeah, that's
So,
a good one.
you know, parks, around trees. Nature is definitely a healer. So whether you
Mm,
like, I like there's a few things I've done. So like I've lit in a fire and just watched fire.
oh,
You know,
nice.
so we've got this little fire pit, and you just you can buy some wood from the shop and just sit down, and maybe if you're really stressed out, you write down all the things that's stressing you out and you put it in the fire, let it go,
Yeah,
have a little
ooh,
physical release. Getting outside, getting the trees, if you can get around water. If not, just being, you know, breathing, simply breathing is something
yeah,
that, be conscious of your breathing. So like there's a 12-second meditation you can do where you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds and let out for 4 seconds.
Yeah, I've done that. It helps. It really does
It
help.
really
You feel a lot
just,
calmer, don't you?
yeah. Cooking, doing things that are, you know, like I enjoy cooking, so I've just cooked up now a storm, and I'm in
Nice.
the
What did you
moment.
make? What did you make? What did you make? Come on, tell us
I
what you
made
made.
lamb chops, chicken,
Oh,
mash, rice
nice,
and peas,
nice. Very nice.
stuffed mushrooms,
Very nice.
uh, caramelized carrots. Yeah, so
Very nice.
I've been
Very
cooking up
nice.
a film
Very nice.
today.
Delicious Sunday. Delicious Sunday dinner. Very nice.
Yes.
But yeah, no, you were saying
Food's a
cooking.
big
Yeah.
one.
Mm.
Food, even just reaching out to people that, you know, that you haven't spoke to in a long time and saying, hey, how's it going? Simple. I think a lot of the solutions are way more simple than we try and complicate things, but solutions are very simple.
Yeah.
Going for exercise,
Mm.
taking a walk, taking a run. You know, if you've got pets, just being in it, because pets can, the world around you can teach you a lot. And so
Yeah.
like pets, they go through all sorts of stresses, but they just get on with it. They live
Yeah.
in, they still, it's like kids as well. Kids can teach you a lot. Yeah, I do like music, express. If you've got a boxing bag, do some boxing.
Yeah. That's a good one.
If you're really stressed out, it's good to squeeze. So there's an exercise where you can do where you can tense up and then relax, tense up and then relax, and your body
Okay.
tends to become more relaxed.
Okay.
There's loads more. What I can do is I can send you. I've got a. I don't know if I did send it to you, but there's like a 99 ways to raise your vibration.
No, but I would definitely like to read that. That'd be great.
I'll send it
Thank
to
you
you.
very much. Thank you very,
So
very
I've got
much.
like loads of things I read. The other thing which is very crucial is eat right. If you're feeling low, you need to eat right. So fuel your body, give your body the fuel. Try and avoid meat and dairy. So things that will quickly help your body to rebalance, like drinking lots of water, like 1 glass every 2 hours at least.
Yeah.
Having lots of veg, like green veg, so like spinach, broccoli, kale. Like green veg is very good for your oxygenating your blood. Things like beetroot for your blood as well. Having fruits, things like that. So having a high intake of like just doing like 3 days of just not eating any meat, you'll see a difference. Just
Nice.
and drinking pure like water.
Yeah.
And I've had to do that. I've been times when my mind is just not there, and I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna focus on eating. Then
Yeah.
I'm eating, and then all of a sudden I feel like, okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Your body's got the fuel, and then you just feel better, and your mind starts to operate on a more of a logical and a less emotional.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Eating right is something good. My mum has taken to actually. I'm vegetarian now, Monday to Fridays. So no meat for me on the no meat for me on the weekend. No meat for me Monday to Friday, but I'm allowed to eat meat on the weekend. On the weekend. That's the same with.
That's how it should be. You know, that's how we overconsume in everything. We
We
overconsume
do.
social media. We overconsume
Yeah.
in food, meat, everything. And
Yeah.
so we need to just find balance. So I'm not saying to people don't eat meat. I'm saying find your balance, which is don't overdo anything.
Yeah.
It's about
I think
just
that's
having.
something. I think that's something that I've, you know, I guess the human race in general just hasn't been great at. You know, finding it's finding the balance. You know, social media, meat, all of those things. You know, every now and again, and I think it's good for me. It really helps. Every now and again, you know, I'll delete all the social media apps off my phone, like a week, 2 weeks, and I'll try my hardest to not look at them because, you know, I mean, whereas social media, I mean, it does have lots and lots of positive impacts and qualities. I feel like the negatives of it kind of do outweigh, you know, the positives of using social media, you know, because there's so much visceral and anger, and there's so much, and it's easier as well for people, you know, to just say anything they want behind a keyboard and a picture of anything. So yeah, so I think the meat one and the social media one would be two really big things people just try and focus on cutting out. Now, I did a bit of research on you before before we spoke, and I found that you are co-founder of the Tope project.
Yeah, Tope.
Tope. Sorry, Tope.
Yeah.
Would you mind telling me a bit about it? You know, a bit more about it.
Yeah, that was in memory of my friend who committed suicide. We started Christmas Day lunch for care leavers, so those who leave the care system.
Okay.
And that was all about just having a space where we could just feel like we're part of a family. So a lot of care leavers, are people who are in the care system, and 16 of us, they become care leavers. So the system prepares them for leaving care, and then they go into independence pretty early, but with a lot of trauma, generally a lot of trauma. So, and then they have to deal with that trauma, and then they're by themselves. And it's super tough, like being in your own, having your own, being in your own place, and then having to deal with yourself is really tough when you haven't got the right support. And Christmas time comes around and you're like, I haven't got a normal family. And so this was about a space where caregivers feel loved, and there's no agenda, there's volunteers. So the first year we in 2012 we did the first one, and that was, we had 75 young people. The next year we had 150, and then we had to cap it at that. So what we did is created a template, and then we gave it to a guy called Lemsise, and then he took it
Oh yeah, I know
across
him.
the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he now runs Christmases around the country. So we gave him a template and a how-to guide, how to run his own event. And so he used that, and he spread it. So it's in like Manchester, Coventry, Sheffield, it's all over the country.
That is
Now,
great.
it's going international now. So we've got people in different countries who want to run it. So people in Kenya, Zimbabwe, India, Australia, New York.
Oh.
And it's just an idea because it's simple. But what we've done over the following years was do some stuff around love, and how you incorporate love within environment. So we train professionals in a thing called What Would Love Do? So it's just like, if this was your child, what would you do? And we incorporate that in working environments and build, look at the relationship between professionals and young people, but also professionals and other workers, and just having more of like an authentic space where people can be human, but also improve productivity.
Okay. No,
So, yeah. So what's great about it is we never knew what we was doing. We've just connected with people and made it happen. And that's what makes it special, because there's a spirit behind it, which you can't match it anywhere. Like I've cried in love doing this project, which I've never done before. It's all those little special things that make you think, yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, and then from that we've gone into doing like training for other, like going to Moldova, going to Czech Republic, and doing training in countries, training professionals and young people how to connect deeply and how to have a meaningful service that has like long-lasting impact.
Great. So I guess does most of the Tope project, does it kind of focus around maybe that one Christmas kind of like lunch dinner thing, or do you kind of do more projects like throughout the year too, or is it more of a...
No, because we're volunteer led, and just about Christmas, we didn't have the capacity to do around the year, but the young people were like, what about the rest of the year? So we've been looking into Sunday dinners, and we ran one just to test like how it looks. So going forwards, we will be creating a template for people to run Sunday dinners for care leavers, and it might not just be care leavers, it might be homeless too, it might be children with disabilities, elderly, and connecting all of those types of people. So connecting the dots of people that suffer with loneliness. And then and this is all simplistic stuff, but it's just like making it easy. So
yeah, it's simplistic. I mean, simplistic or not, I mean, it feels to me like a lot of the best or simple ideas. I mean, they're the best, man. You're bringing so much joy to so many different people, like who, especially around. I mean, especially around the age where if you are in care, I guess people kind of start, forgetting about you a bit more. So the fact that you willingly just go out there actively and help is great. Is there anywhere we can donate or follow, or anything we can kind of like help you
at the moment, because we've been thinking about setting up as a charity, and we went to set up a charity, and we just said, you know what, it doesn't make sense, all the hurdles they put for you to set up, like financial hurdles and having to prove your financial background in places where our finances are not great. We were just like, you know what, we've made a difference just being a project. So every Christmas we open up a Just Giving so that people can donate to us for Christmas. But other than that, what we do is normally connect dots. So if people want to donate to causes, I make sure I know of things that are going on around London, and so we build relationships and partnerships, and we're currently in talks with a few different people. So in talks with Netflix at the moment about what they can offer young people. We've just had a few meetings with Viacom, who own like MTV, BT, Comedy Central. So we're year on year they make offers to us. So yeah, we're trying to do things in a different way, and now we're looking at like online training as well, how we can, penetrate the different areas of the world, not just the UK, so that we can build universal connection. Like I see us like heroes because we've come through all this trauma, and we still operate in love even in this time now. And I feel like because we've had trauma, this isn't scary to us. So actually we can bring light to people by saying, hey, we'll lead you through this process, we'll give you the tools you need, and also we'll have a real conversation when you're ready.
Well, that's great. When the Just Giving link is up, I'll definitely send it to me, because I would happy to help out with to help out, just help out any way I can. Now, as someone who works in the mental health sector, with the government and with around with the Mayor of London, I wanted to ask, how do you think the mental health sector will change post lockdown?
I'm a bit worried because everything's like you can't beat human connection and physical human connection, as in like being in the same room with someone. So I'm a bit worried that a lot of it's going to be like this, which is great to a point, but there's another point where some people need a hug, some people need that physical energy, just to be able to experience, so sometimes when I'm working with people, I'm sending them love, and it can work through a screen, but there is just something about being in a presence, as they say, present is present. And so it worries me that even the professionals who are trying to support communities are being traumatized right now, or are suffering, so they can't be the best version of themselves. So yeah, it's worrying times. With me, I'm not really in that fear of, I'm happy to go out and go to anyone and whatever. But the fact is that if I go out, people may perceive it as I'm being careless or whatever it is. So there's this whole kind of battle between, protecting people you love and the community versus, because to me, I looked at it like this, like my mom was ill with the virus, or a number of different things. And I was like, if she dies now, what's she going to want? And she was saying, well, I'd rather have like a relationship. I'd rather be able to see you and know that we spent the last moments together than me be in fear and not be around anyone and just die. So that you have to make those kind of choices. Like, so if people are getting sick, and if we're honest, if 94% of the people that get the virus recover, then that's a bloody high. Stat, which means it's like a lot of other illnesses where the only thing with this one is they don't have a vaccine or a cure. But at the same time, people get over it. That is the cure. Your human body is fascinating. But in terms of the mental health field going forwards, we're going to have to get super creative. And this is why I'm building tools, because I'm like, we have to give tools for people to work on themselves now. Your mental health now is pretty much your responsibility. Because of the isolation. So for me, it's like, what can I do to be useful? And that is basically give you a set of tools or guidance on like what you could do. So like cooking, or if people are happy, I'm happy to meet up and just be like, let's do a socially distanced picnic or whatever it is. But now, now it's reducing, but I believe there will be a second wave.
I think so too.
In the winter, it's going to create havoc, because the weather seems to affect our moods. And if we're in a dark place in terms of weather, plus a virus, plus isolation, plus it gets dark, there's all sorts
a lot earlier,
come into play. So yeah, I mean, from City Hall's perspective, in terms of violence reduction unit, we are mapping and seeing what we can do in all sorts of an arenas. So we're looking at working with communities. We're mapping who's doing what where and how we can share it out and make sure it gets to the right people in the communities that need it. So there's a lot of work going into mapping and getting right information, plus also funding that help mental health organizations to continue doing the work they're doing. And mental health is everyone's responsibility. It's not just an organization. It's every single person on this planet's responsibility. So it's no point waiting for organizations to come along and support people. It's about actually showing up for your neighbor and saying, how you doing? Do you need anything? Here's a little food I've made if you want to eat. You know, like human element of everything.
Kind of like bringing out the human kindness, like within everyone. Just be able to ask and check up, you know, on your friends, and whether it be the ones you know suffering from mental health, or the ones who might not be, or they say that they don't. You know, check up on both your strong friends and the ones who you know need help. Man, you got to check up on both. So what would you say to the people who are struggling with mental health issues, but they don't want to come forward to, whether it be their parents or family members or friends or anyone, you know, in that sector? Because there is a lot of people who struggle with mental health issues, but they don't want to. They're not really willing to kind of come forward and talk about it.
Yeah, get outside and breathe.
Yeah,
because if you don't feel like you can talk to anyone, watch your self-talk. Because if your self-talk if it's you saying, oh, I'm not good enough or I'm not this, then you need a counter voice to say you are good enough, you are valuable. So even if it's a stranger, even if it's, you know, the world works in wonderful ways. So there's things you can do, which is like, you can train your mind to look at the more positive. So you have a list of negative things and the positive things that are going through your head. And then start to think, okay, what else is positive? Because if we choose to look, everything around us is made from value. So, you know, like your doorknobs, your stairs, your carpet, your clothes, your earrings, your hat, your chain, everything made to make you feel better and more comfortable. But we just forgot, you know, little things like toilet seats, your baskets for your washing, you know, your trainers, they're all been made with value. Someone thought of that idea and said, hey, I'm going to give this away to the world. And that's happened millions of times. We've just forgotten it. Even simple things like your wallpaper, a photo, you know. So if you can't speak to no one, just start to get into that place of like, what is, like, the world can feel like shit, but what's actually valuable around me? Look around you, you know, and then get outside. I always say get outside, because it's just air somehow does something to you. Look up, look at, there is a beauty. It's just that we don't always have the lens to see it.
No, absolutely right.
And allow people to, because it's weird. It's so weird that we never want something that actually feels good. So like, you know, when you get help, I used to be a bit like this, like, I'm the helper, so I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna ask for help. And then I remember just like with my partner, it's like, it's nice to get a hug. It's nice to get to chill, and she cooks for me, or she gives me a massage, or we have a chat. These are the kind of things that are beautiful. So allow yourself to be helped.
Yeah,
it feels good. It does feel good.
It does. It
And
really does.
if you can't speak to someone, maybe look at if you can get an animal, or if you can go to a place where there's animals. So I remember the other day I was in the forest and a squirrel came on my hand. I was like, what? So a
Nice.
really powerful moment. I was like, wow.
Nice.
So horses are very connected to emotions. It's really powerful if you can get around horses, or, you know, dogs and cats. They give you unconditional love. So find a place where you get that unconditional love. But the main thing is that don't always listen to everyone's advice. So you know what you do for you. But if I had to say something, every single person here is valuable.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. And you definitely matter. But it doesn't matter if I say it if you can't say it. And that's the thing. So we've all come into this life through a massive struggle. Like to even get from the sperm to the egg is powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then from the egg and the sperm into 9 months later, to make life is powerful. To then live every single day, despite millions of people dying every single day, is powerful. So we have to understand our royalty in terms of we've come so far. You can't give up now. We're so small in our experience. We might as well have fun. Like start having fun. Like when do we lose our sense of joy and having fun like a kids? You know, it's a beautiful thing when kids just like don't care. And if just go back to childhood, start doing things like with nature, reconnecting, get yourself a sandpit, get yourself a water feature, get yourself a little fire, something.
Rediscover that childhood, that childhood joy that that we once all had. That inner child. No, you're right. A therapist, I had a really great therapist, and he once said to me, you know, I mean, he said, write down all the terrible things you think about yourself, and then imagine that you said that. If you said that to someone else, would you? And I was like, no. It's like if you want to say the things you say to yourself to someone else, why would you say them to yourself? And that always stuck with me because you know he was right.
Yeah.
You know, like
because
you know you're your own worst enemy. Sorry, carry on.
No, I was saying when you look in the mirror and like the things when you look at the mirror and you see what you see is what not other people see. So I have conversations like this all the time. I'm like, if you saw, because I had a friend like commit suicide this week, and I was like, if he only saw what we saw in him, he would be here, you know. And that's what's crazy is that we don't see the lens of the beauty. We see what we're programmed to think, which is the trauma. We get addicted to trauma for some reason. And that creates negative self-talk. And it's not yours, it's invasive. You are beautiful and you know it. But your surface brain is a liar, basically. Creating solutions. So I always say to people, this year for me is about removing the mask, taking that mask off that's got all those false truths, throwing it away and being like, who am I beneath the mask? And I am a beautiful soul, but I've allowed the projection of others to create a false me. So other people may have had a crap time growing up, and they tell you, because they can't deal with themselves, they think it's easier to point fingers at you. But when you do this, there's three fingers pointing at me. So I can point fingers out, but there's three at me. So anyone who does that, they need to work on themselves. So healing takes time. It doesn't take time, but it takes you giving yourself time. And change happens in a moment, but we are trained to think that it takes a long time. No, it can happen today if you make a choice, and that's all it is. You have to make the choice and say, you know what, no more, and done.
I think people can tend to be, you know, too hard on themselves, or then they're too upset that they don't think they're making enough, you know, progress in the time that they should do. But you're right, you know, it's not about how long it takes. You're allowed to give yourself, you know, time, because people always say Rome wasn't built in a day. So
there you go. And not enough is a disease. You are enough. That's it. We seem to think that we've been conditioned to think that everything of value is outside of us. Oh yeah, I need to get this car. I need to have this amount of money. No, money has to work for you. Energy, you are valuable. Money comes to you when you give your energy. So it's an exchange of your energy. But people seem to think, oh, I need to have a house. No, the house needs you, because it has no purpose without you.
That is true.
You know, so, and everything that we give value to, it's not the value. You are the value, but because, you know, people don't understand how powerful they are, they get stressed by all these things outside of them. But you is what's really beautiful. And once you understand that, everything works for you anyway. So it's just a win-win.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You know, I mean, I don't think I could. I mean, I'm gonna say I don't think I can say it any better myself. But then, I mean, I can say it in any way that you could. I'm gonna say any way you could. But you know, everything you said, you know, is absolutely right. Absolutely right. You know, I mean, I think people need to remember that. I mean, no matter how many bad days you've had, you still got through that bad day. You still got through that bad day, and you know you have a purpose. Okay.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, and I know I felt like this sometimes. You know, I've always felt. I felt that, you know, the world would be better off if I wasn't around, if I wasn't alive, and my family would be happy and stuff like that. But you know, it took me a while, but I had to force myself to remember that, you know, the world wouldn't be the same if I wasn't in it, and that's the same with everybody else. Like the world wouldn't be the same. The families, you know, my family's life wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same whether I wasn't born, whether I came out and I decided I didn't want to be here anymore. You need to remember, and you know, I mean, and it's not, you know, and I know some people might think, you know, that some of the self-care things maybe come from a sense of arrogance, and maybe this is a bit wrong, but I mean, I look at arrogance in knowing that the world would not be the same without you at all. I think that's a good level of arrogance, you know, knowing that you're completely unique to, you know, the world that's going around. And I don't even think arrogance is the word. I think it's just knowing that, you know, for the world to be the way it is, you need to be here. We all need to be here. You
know? And that's what I have a bit of an issue with, is that we've associated now arrogance, like self-love and confidence in who you are, with arrogance. And so even being loving to yourself and being confident is now coming across, how do I come across against other people? And that's the issue, is we're living our lives for other people, not for our own internal. When you're a kid, you're inside, you're like, you're playing with your mind. You're like, oh, I'm playing with this Superman and Batman. But then as you get older, you lose that sense of, well, what happened to my imagination? And it's like, no, that's what it's about. It's about internal value, building that, keeping that going, keeping that kid alive, keeping that fun. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what next world or where we go after we leave here.
No, that's true.
And we always told about heaven and hell. We don't know if this is heaven or this is, or you can make a hell out of it or you can make a heaven out of it. It's down to you though. And so we're very limited in our time here. Why not enjoy the experience? You know, because we don't know what the next realm holds. We don't know if what. So with our capability and our powerful minds, enjoy your experience. Have fun. Things are going to happen, and you can't be in control of what you can't control. But who you can control, and the only thing you probably can control in this life is you. So get control and just have fun with it, man.
Get control, have fun.
Happens, man. But we're warriors.
We are.
We are very mechanics. It's magical. You know, we heal. Our bodies self-heal. We don't even have to think about it. Our bodies do all sorts of crazy things that we don't think about. It's like there's a whole universe within you that you need to explore.
We are the product of 2,000 years. Yeah, we're the product of 2,000 years of human history, and we're all still here. So impressive.
So we're still on the learning journey. I would say the main thing is getting a mindset of discovery. What else can I discover about myself? What beauty do I hold within that I'm missing? You know, keep those kind of questions. It's all about asking yourself the right questions so that it tunes you into what you are, who you are, and the positive aspects rather than what you lack of. Because when you look into what you've not got, you're going to get more of what you haven't got. And you're going to go into a darker place. But when you look at, okay, what do I want in me that I may not have, or what don't I know about me yet? Because that's the thing it is. It's there. It's just like you just don't know it, or you can't accept it yet. Go in, you know.
Absolutely right. Jerome, thank you so much for talking with me today.
No worries.
Thank you so much. No worries. If you could maybe tell us where we can maybe follow your social media, follow your Tope project, Tope project. Yeah. If you let us all know, and then send me some of the links as well, and when I upload it, I'll put it onto the I'll put it into the description too. Yeah.
So where the description here?
Description down there.
So social media at J Rhymes, so at JRYHMZ, and the Tope project is the TOPE project. You can if you look it up on Instagram, or it'll come up pretty much straight away. And it's like a black logo with the Tope project. And on Twitter, I'm Jerome_H_Agyei.
Nice.
But if all else fails, just Google my name, Jerome Harvey-Agyei, and I should come up.
Great.
But yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been an
It's been a
absolute
pleasure as
pleasure.
well, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me today.